What's going on, everybody? It's Tuesday afternoon. It's like 70 something degrees. Warm trends in effect. Spring is calling. It was one of those days today where you couldn't help. If you looked outside, you wanted to go fishing. It was just like, yes, please, can I go? Um, and it looks like we're going to have more of that kind of weather for 10 days. But anyways, I'm Mike McFarland. Welcome to McFarland's Corner. Um, Before I start today's free public rundown, I want to give a few shout outs to our main sponsors. We have 31 and growing, but there's a few that are at the top, and I just want to make sure that I recognize those headlines. Texas Insider Fishing Report, Captain Rick Murphy, Dave Farrell, and Bree. It's huge. It's a really big deal. They have the Florida Insider Fishing Report, and they have the Texas Insider Fishing Report. It's live on television. It starts up here in about the third week of March. We start filming and recording, and I'm so grateful to be a part of that team. They also support McFarland Fishing, the Lake Fork Guide, and what we do here in the studio. Again, those shows will start airing by April 1st. You'll have a weekly report. It covers all of Texas. It covers the lower fresh region, the mid fresh region, the upper fresh region, and it covers 3 sections of the coastal. So there's 6 awesome guides, again, hosted by Captain Rick Murphy and his big crew of sponsors, which is Berkeley and Abu Garcia and Yamaha and Skeeter and on and on and on. Big multi-million-dollar operation. It's a really cool thing to be part of. Second is J. Hodge Chevrolet. Thanks to J. Hodge Chevrolet for all they do, providing us with a Suburban and taking care of our maintenance and just the cool things that J. Hodge Chevrolet does for us. J. Hodge Chevrolet is in a couple different states, but I recommend if you need any service, go to Sulphur Springs. Go see the guys up there. Tell them I sent you. J. Hodge Chevrolet. And then, of course, we're also sponsored by Diamond Sports Marine. Fred Barthold, which, works with Diamond Sports as a Skeeter boat dealer. So we get a Skeeter boat and a Yamaha engine, and we generally get one of those every year. Those 3 big deals, big part of what we do. So big shout out to them, as well as all the sponsors and support that we get here. I want to tell you that this is a free public report. I want to remind you there is a private report that has a lot more details than what you get here. This is a basic report. I'll give you some lake information. Like right now, I'll tell you last Thursday, the report, we were at 402.91. We were an inch or so below full pool. We are now 402.76, which is 3 inches below full pool. They have gates open. They're lowering the lake till they're about 6 inches below full pool, which would be 402.50. And they want to do that for safety, being that spring's coming and we get a lot of rains here. So they like keeping it about 6 inches below. They'll hold when it gets 6 inches above. They dump it back out. Clarity varies. Depends on where you are. The farther up the creeks you go, the dirtier the water. It does get dirty. But it is settling from the rain we had a week or so ago. Temperatures, with the cold snap that we had Saturday, Sunday, they're kind of holding the same, 49.51. Fishing, though. There was a Bass Champs event this weekend. Big turnout, a whole lot of boats. And there were 3 10-pound fish weighed in. Overs. 3 fish over the slot weighing in the 10-pound class. Last year alone, in most of the events, the Legends, the Skeeter, the Big Bass Splash, the Berkeley event, and the Mega Bass, there weren't 3, there was hardly 3 double-digit fish weighed in period all year. So I think we're in for a great year. I think last year that lake had come up and there was so much junk and so much flooded debris for those fish to actually evade and hide from the highest pressured lake in the world. They hid from the fishermen. And this year that's now gone. It's decayed away. Now, example, 2 years ago, the lake was really low. We had 150 fish between 8 and 10 pounds. Last year, that didn't happen. Last year, they didn't use the deeper stuff all summer long. Those deeper holes, they just didn't use it. They stayed shallow. It was a weird year, but I think it's come full circle. Lakes are cyclic. And so where I'm going is put your boots back on and don't be afraid. Lake Fork's not dead. Don't let anybody tell you, or don't buy into any of the gossip or rumors and nonsense of these people that jump ship the minute that a firecracker goes off. They think the whole ship's going to sink. You know, someone's on a big ship and they light a little firecracker and everybody cries, "Oh my God, the sky is falling," and that's really what happens. So there's been a lot of bad rumor about Lake Fork that it's dead and the fish are gone, and it's not true. Not to be redundant, but I'm going to tell you, there was 3 10-pounders caught in the Bass Champs over the weekend. Lots of fish weighed in, good sacks weighed in. There's probably about the 12th 10-pound fish that I know of already caught this year. In 6 weeks of 2024, I know of at least a dozen double-digit fish that have been caught now, including a couple at the 12-pound range. So I really see, for example, we caught 8 to 10-pound fish. We had 149 of them logged in 2022. That was 2 years ago. Those fish are 10-pounders now. You know, and I wasn't the only one catching fish like that in 2022. It was a great season. Those fish didn't die. They didn't go over the dam. They didn't disappear. They just worked hard to catch last year. Well, they're growing a little more now, and they're more double digits. So anyways, I really expect to see really good outcome this year. So again, tie them boots up tight. Hang on. Lake Fork's going to really shine. You're going to see that here in just a week, another week, 10 days from now or so, when the elite anglers come to Lake Fork. They will be here February 28th, 29th, March 1st, and March 2nd. I believe they're going to smash them. The weather's lining up good. It's going to showcase Lake Fork and its beauty. You're going to see a lot of big fish caught. With that being said, you know, your best bite right now is moving baits. If you're not a live scoper, okay, then you just kind of got to go find the warmest water you can, and you need to throw moving baits. Spinnerbaits, chatterbaits, square bills, you know, those type of moving baits, rattle traps, cover a lot of water until you start getting some bites, and then stay in that warm trended area where you're getting some bites and continue to let it give you everything it's worth. Again, I know chatterbaits was a good producer over the weekend. A lot of guys made some good checks in the Bass Champs by fishing a chatterbait or thunder cricket. The live scoping aspect is really the big females still haven't moved in from offshore. You got a lot of males that have come in. And here on Fork, we have a slot limit, 16 to 24 inches. So your first fish or your young fish, your males, you know, that's why a lot of unders were caught. Under 16 inches were caught. They've moved in. And a lot of times they'll stay in no matter what happens. They don't make big moves from offshore and get moved in near and adjacent to spawning grounds and then leave and go all the way back out. They tend to stay and they just hunker down when things get cold. Remember, we Texas two-step. We warm, 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 cool, warm, 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 cool. When it's cool, you're going to find them more in the creeks. When it's warm like today, you're going to find them up on the flats, feeding flats and spawning flats. Again, I wouldn't be afraid to throw a buzz bait. In that dirty water, darker colors are really important. Green pumpkins in black. Even black orange, black red. Same thing with rattle traps. Orange, fiery orange. That's why in the wintertime, Sam River red is one of the best colors because it tend to be a little dirtier water, grungier water. But there's something about that orange chartreuse, red, orange, and chartreuse. That combination of those three colors, whether it's a square bill, a rattle trap, a chatterbait, the fire, I think they call it fire tiger. That's a great color chatterbait. But anyways, that's kind of where you want to be if you're going to work shallow. I am not much of a live scoper. I don't really have the what's the word I want to use? I don't have the neck anymore to sit down and stare at that sonar for 6, 7, 8 hours. At the end of the day, you can't hardly walk because you're hunched over with blurred vision from looking at the sonar, tossing on single fish that are suspended and roaming all around. But that's where your big girls are, and those baits are going to be swim baits, a lot of minnow stuff, small minnow type deals, just little. Well, I had some out here the other day, but I just put them away. The storm wildlife swim baits and just an array of things. Alabama rigs, swim baits, glide baits, jerk baits. Jerk baits and the live scope go really well together because you can work the fish and see the whole thing. And you can stall the jerk bait. It doesn't sink too much, doesn't leave the area. So jerk baits are really good for live scoping if that's what you're trying to learn how to do. I want to share something with you. I went this year, I prep a lot of times couple months in advance before the season gets here. I go through all of my terminal, hooks, tackle, fishing line, things like that. And I make sure that I'm stocked up well. So when the season comes and I'm booked 6 days a week, I don't have time to go to Bass Pro and I don't have time to, shop much. I want to make sure I have a good stock of it. And boy, was I surprised this year when I went to get fluorocarbon fishing line. I have used the Cigar brand, all levels of Cigar brand, for many years. It's a great line, and it's never let me down. For most of my cases, I use the Cigar Red Label, and I can tell you that the price has almost doubled. I was getting it for $52 1,000 yards, and now it's $84 for 1,000 yards. So I've done some homework, and what I want to share with you is that K9, the brand K9 here. This price tag is blocking the emblem. Maybe I can show you with this one. K9. The K9 brand fluorocarbon is about $20 for 600 yards. So this right here, I just got this yesterday, $19.99, 20-pound test, 550 yards. So for $40, half price of the Cigar Red Label, I can go with this K9 brand, and I'm telling you, it works just fine. It's a little less abrasive resistant, just a little less, but it doesn't have memory, it doesn't coil, it hasn't failed me yet. I started using it last year. I've been really, really happy. But if you're on a budget, you really like that fluorocarbon line, I recommend that you try this K9. If you're fun fishing, especially. If you're a tournament angler, I would stay with actually the Sunline brand. If I was to go back to competing, I would be with Sunline, hands down, no other line. Sunline Sniper or Sunline Shooter. Bottom line, best lines on the market. I've never ever changed. Economically speaking, the K9 brand will do you right, and you'll be very happy with the results. The other thing I highly recommend is you get yourself some KVD, Kevin Van Dam lure line condition. They call it line and lure condition. I don't know why they put lure condition, because I never spray it on a lure. It's called line and lure. But what you want to do is get a little tiny piece of cloth, not a paper towel, little square of paper of cloth. Soak that with this KVD spray when you put the new line on. This cleans off all of any powders or anything that were in the factory. It conditions the line as it goes on the spool, so it really takes well. And then what I like to do, sometimes I'll put a spray or two on the spool when it's first fresh, and it just conditions it to the spool. You won't believe the difference in smoothness, casting, and durability. The other thing is, back to economics and saving yourself some money, take that same piece of cloth and every now and then, preferably at the end of your day if you can, wet that cloth, make one last cast, and put that back on the spool, that last cast back on the spool, with it being cleaned and conditioned again. And you won't believe how the next morning when you fish, or 2 weeks later when you fish, how well your line is ready for you, how well your line is cleaned, conditioned, and it makes it last 10 times as long. So there's just a little economics to help you, convenience, and the castability is unbelievable. I mean, here's a test for you. You want to really see the difference. Do what I said to one of your reels and leave one not. And then when you go throw them the next day or a week later, you will see the difference in the castability. So that's really important, okay? So like I said, Lake Fork's about ready to fire off. We are going to have a good spawn. We're going to have big fish turn on, and there'll be a huge shell bed bite with swim baits and glide baits. The swim baits and glide baits this year are going to clean house. We're going to see a lot of big fish caught. So if you are interested in any of that, you want to learn something about shell beds, you want to learn something about swim baits, glide baits, you want to chase these big fish with me, March is almost full. I just have a couple of select dates, but April still has some openings. If you're interested, please hit me up, 602-826-1524. I'd love to take you fishing. I got another little free report I'm going to give you here from Jackie Wiggins about crappie fishing, and then we'll close the report. But just remember that if you want to book with me for May and June, those are my hottest months offshore. That's when we're using the sonar the most. That's when we're finding deep shell. We're finding those bigger groups of post-spawn fish. Usually I'm 2 months out. So if you want a May or June trip, you need to book now. They won't be available if you wait much longer. All right, let's go to Jackie Wiggins real quick. and give you a fishing report for Fork. Okay. Jackie says things are changing pretty quick with the warm trending deal, but the crappie are still spread out all over different depths right now. You can catch some out deep, just like we said last week, and there's fish that are pulling up to 2 feet of water getting ready to spawn, just like bass would. He's not seeing a huge concentration numbers at any specific area, but he expects very soon with this warm trending deal that you'll see more and more fish moving towards the spawning areas. Some of the bigger fish have been caught, just like we do in the springtime, moving into those spawning areas. Those bigger females are coming. They get a lot of the same principles as bass. The male goes in first and the female kind of joins. But anyways, the bite should get a lot hotter in less than 20 feet of water very, very soon. Water temperatures need to rise and clear. They need to get clear. This dirtier water, he's finding that chartreuse hand-tied jigs are working well. Obviously, live minnows. A chartreuse jig tipped with a live minnow for those fish that are deeper. And if you go shallow, you want even darker colors like black, and chartreuse. And again, the minnows, you can always catch fish, crappie on minnows if you're struggling. Some guys don't like to use the minnows. They like to be a purist and artificially catch them. So black and chartreuse if you're shallow, just plain chartreuse if you're deep. That's the crappie report. And listen, I'm going to go ahead and give a big shout out again to all sponsors. Like we said, Jayhawk Chevrolet, Skeeter Bass Boats, Diamond Sports Marine, Yamaha, Texas Insider Fishing Report with Captain Rick Murphy, Bree, and Dave Farrell. Abu Garcia, Berkeley, Power Pole, Bass Assassin, Bajio Sunglasses, Tightlines UV, Lake Fork Trophy Lures, Impact Lures, Sandtone Lures, Real Time Rods, Magic Reaction, Lake Fork Marina, Go Fish Lures, Steve's Custom Prop Shop, The Original Rod Socks, The Sign Shop, Burning Stump Lodge, Lake Fork Resort, Murphy's Law Sport Fishing out of Florida, Jamie's Restaurant, Oh My The Pie. I ate breakfast at Jamie's Restaurant this morning. Thank you, Jamie, for all you do for us and supporting us as fishing guys there. But when we want to pay it back, the food's there. It's there. It's really, really good food, good service, and the pies, oh my. That's right in Lake Fork Marina. Tackle Co-op, which is coming soon. Jamie's Jacked Up Design. Lucas Oil, which I always forget to, they're a lifer with me. Lucas Oil and I were tied at the hip. I'm part of the family with Lucas Oil. And Protect the Harvest. Google Protect the Harvest and check out what that's all about. We're losing our country, and Protect the Harvest is one of those things that you want to know something about, a little bit something about what's going on. Protect the Harvest is saving our farmers. Okay, so that's it, guys. I appreciate you. Remember, hit the like button, comment below if you want more details. You want to know the exact baits that this weekend was dominating, the locations of the lake that are the best. You want to know more of the goods, the juice, then please I ask you to subscribe to my members only channel. Look in the link, look for the link below here in the description below. You'll see link for members only channel. Click on that, follow the procedure, become a member. We'd love to have you. Other than that, I wish you all great fishing and thank you so much for watching. I'm Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Guide.